Doing this meeting, the specially called TAC meeting. We'll go ahead with roll call, please.
Yes, hello. Town of Ashland, Miss Mertz Gwynn.
Present.
Charles City County, Miss Adams. Chesterfield County, Miss Smith.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Goyne. Mr. Longerbeam. Hanover County, Chair Vidunas.
Here.
Henrico County, Miss Smidler. Mr. De Leon. I think you're here. Okay, I see you. Okay, thank you, Sharon. New Kent County, Miss Inman.
I'm here. Good afternoon.
Powhatan County, Mr. Webb.
Here.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Here.
GRTC, Mr. Adarkwa. Mr. Dillard.
Here.
Mr. Adarkwa
present.
and Dillard are here.
Thank you. CVTA, Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Plan RVA, RRTPO, Mr. Bushing. Mr. Allen. VDRPT, Ms. Dubinsky. Mr. Hudson.
Here.
VDOT, Mr. Hagan.
Here.
RMTA, Ms. Dean. Virginia Port Authority, Ms. Nelson.
Here.
Thank you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes,
Okay, good. Thanks.
and we do have a quorum.
Okay. Very well. I think it was as mentioned earlier, we do have two individuals that are wishing to address the committee. We also received two written comments prior to the meeting. Have all TAC members received, they should have, their email went out. Have all TAC members received a copy of the written comments?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Please.
That was sent via email, 15 minutes ago, approximately, Amy?
Okay.
We'd be happy to read both of those.
I just did
if
it right now. I'll look at them right now.
Okay, all right.
Mr.
Okay, so
Chair.
given that all TAC members have received copies, we will not read those, but we do have two individuals that would like to address the committee, so go ahead and do that now, please.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this is Chet. It looks like we have more than two folks that are joining the meeting. I would ask that anyone who is an attendee that would like to share public comment, please use the raise hand function and we'll call on you individually.
I have a quick question. Did my email reach everyone today or not? I guess no.
I
Yes,
have not seen it.
I received it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to?
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead with the.
Okay. So let's start with Jacob Sherrod.
Hey, thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Jacob Sherrod. I'm a Henrico resident. I'm also the community coordinator with Strong Towns RVA. We're a group dedicated to, among other things, financially sound, low-cost, multimodal transportation options. I saw today that the TAC is deciding today the manner in which to use unallocated CVTA funding. I think we ought to ask ourselves whether the goal of the CVTA is to reduce traffic or improve transportation. I think some of the items up for consideration would do a great job at reducing traffic temporarily. Highway extensions and expansions, like the Powhite Parkway extension, however you say it, and the Chaco Valley Streets project, would do a great job at reducing traffic for a few years. However, because of the principle of induced demand, these projects will eventually only attract more drivers, leading eventually to increased traffic for all on roads that have been made less safe by widening and expansion. If we're really in fact dedicated to improving public transportation, projects like the new downtown transfer station, the Fulton Rail layover facility, other projects to support GRTC, things like that will help move more people in less space and be more financially sound. The promise of the highway system as a whole has not been realized, has not materialized, and I think we have to move on from building more highways, expanding highways, and instead change over to supporting transit, supporting rail, because those are the transportation technologies of the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next would be Kevin Cianfrini.
Hi, folks. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Kevin Cianfarini. I'm a resident of Richmond City and a co-lead with Climate Change Makers RVA. We advocate for climate policy change in the greater Richmond region. We strongly oppose redirecting any unallocated funding towards road and highway expansion projects like the Powhite Parkway extension. In a time where GRTC is having service cuts because of the lack of funding, reallocating these funds away from transit and towards polluting road expansion projects is downright irresponsible. When we properly fund transit, we can move more people with significantly less pollution and dollars. Unfortunately, the constraints of the CVTA placed on transit funding eligibility within its project selection framework help explain why millions of dollars in transit funding have gone unallocated. These rules are self-imposed, artificially limiting, and if changed, will help transit flourish in Central Virginia. As a regular rider of GRTC, I can personally attest that the demand for high-frequency transit exists here. Despite midday service frequency cuts to the Pulse, buses are regularly so packed with people outside of rush hour that no seating is available. Leaning into this latent demand for transit service requires that we fund its expansion across the region. Instead of using transit money to fund highway expansion, the CVTA should fund the full $13.5 million match for GRTC's build grant and also fund the Fulton Rail Yard project. Please use transit money to give people viable transportation choices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next would be Fatima Kamara.
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Fatima Kamara. I'm the Land Use and Transportation Manager at Virginia Conservation Network. In Virginia, our highest source of emissions is transportation. Therefore, we oppose highway expansion projects and encourage transit funding as well as funding for bike and pedestrian infrastructure and rail infrastructure. I'll keep it brief and leave it there. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Richard Hankins.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Richard Hankins. I'm the Executive Director of the Partnership for Smarter Growth. We advocate for a Richmond region that plans sustainably, grows inclusively, and connects communities in accordance with the 10 principles of smart growth. We firmly believe that the funding and helping with the build grant for the GRTC Downtown Transfer Station Hub and the Fulton Rail Yard layover facility are smoke growth options, and we strongly support them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Glenn Besa, sorry for the pronunciation.
Yes, close enough. My name is Glenn Besa. I'm speaking as a resident of Chesterfield County. I live in literally on the city-county line off of Hopkins Road, so one of the older communities here. And I have to say that from what I understand, there's $48 million in unallocated funding, 28 million of which is unallocated for transit. And I think that transit money should go to transit. I happen to live in a community that's not served by transit. I think we should be investing in transit projects to expand transit opportunities. Again, whether you live in the city of Richmond or you live in the inner suburbs, they're not even suburbs anymore, they're just as urban as the city. We need to provide attention to projects that serve the folks that have been here a long time, paying taxes with pedestrian accommodations, bike accommodations, and transit accommodations. Issues like the Fulton Rail Yard and the transfer station, serve a larger population, not just the city. And as a Chesterfield resident, I would like to see funds directed in that direction, and not to projects like the Powhite Parkway, which just serve more and more growth outside the areas where most of us live. We shouldn't be subsidizing new development. We should be investing in the people who live here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lee Williams.
Am I unmuted?
There we go. Yes.
All right, sorry, I've got lots of blue buttons in front of me. Sorry about that. My name is Lee Williams. I'm a city resident, and I'm also the advocacy chair of the local chapter of the Sierra Club, Falls of the James Group. Sierra Club was founded in 1892 and is one of the oldest environmental organizations in the United States. We want to emphasize the importance of strategically allocating CVTA's $48 million surplus. It is crucial that you maximize this opportunity and ensure every dollar is put to use and not left unallocated. We are against spending any money on the extension of the Powhite Parkway or increasing pavement for automobiles anywhere, including the proposed Shockoe Bottom project. These expansions are expensive and will only lead to sprawl, stormwater problems, and increased vehicle emissions. New dollars for roads only encourage car dependency and more driving, which makes traffic and congestion worse, not better. These dollars should be invested in projects that prioritize community and environmental health and public resources like public transit and bike walk infrastructure. We support the proposed improvements to the Fulton Rail Yard, which will positively impact our regional rail capacity. Traveling by rail or bus produces 80% fewer greenhouse gas emissions per passenger per mile than cars. Trains and buses reduce traffic congestion, lower air pollution, and consume less energy, making them the most sustainable low-carbon transportation options we have. For those same reasons, we also support the Downtown Transfer Station Hub project and align ourselves with Partnership for Smarter Growth's requested amendment to alleviate GRTC's temporary shortfall. Greenhouse gas emissions generated from transportation within the city of Richmond make it the second largest percentage of Richmond's carbon footprint. Prioritizing convenient and accessible public transit for all reduces transportation emissions, creating economic and health benefits, including fewer work and school day losses, fewer emergency room visits, and better health outcomes for communities disproportionately impacted by respiratory diseases and conditions like asthma. In conclusion, we encourage you to be more creative with your projects. There are so many opportunities for rail to trail, sidewalks and protected bike lanes, greenways, and community-led products, especially in the counties. And providing grants so organizations can actually do the work would also be much appreciated. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you. Finally, I believe we have Annika Shun.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, and good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Annika Shun. I work at a local housing nonprofit, but I'm speaking today in my capacity as a Richmond resident. I grew up in Chesterfield County and have made Richmond City my home for the past 8 years. And last year, my partner and I were able to buy a house in part because we share a car and rely on the bus for many of our transportation needs. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars a month on a second vehicle, we were able to put that money towards a down payment instead. So the bus has given us financial freedom as well as freedom of mobility, and it's one of the reasons I love living in Richmond. I support expanding transit so more residents in the area can access this amazing amenity, and I would ask the committee to allocate its surplus funding towards supporting public transit infrastructure, such as bus and bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure, rather than road expansion. I'm definitely not an expert on transit by any stretch of the imagination, but all of the research I've read is pretty clear that the only way to decrease congestion and reduce strain on roads long-term is to expand public transit options. And I really feel that every dollar that we spend on public transit creates value that is available to everyone, while every dollar we spend on highways creates value that's accessible only to those who can afford to buy and maintain a car. So investing in public transit, including the bus, is the best choice for the climate, for our roads, and for our community. And I urge you to allocate surplus funds towards supporting and expanding public transit. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I believe that is all of the folks who had requested to speak during the public comment period. As you noted, for the two written comments we received, one from Andrea Wider, and the other one from Don O'Keefe, we will make sure to include those as part of the minutes. And all the members should have gotten those via email.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Elizabeth, you have your hand up?
I'm just wondering if it's this proper time for me to say my piece. My email did not go out to everyone. It was not received. We are having email issues in the building today, so that's not surprising to me.
Right, not quite at this time, but there will be an opportunity for that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So on to item 5, the reason that we're here today. I'm just going to lay out the process that I like to follow, and what I like to do to start out with is to give each of the localities that submitted an opportunity to present their option. After that, there'll be an opportunity for localities if they want to make changes or amendments, or even possibly withdraw their option. We'll have that. Then I'd like to take a straw poll, see where we're at, see if anything, see what has kind of risen to the top, and then at that point, I'll open it back up to discussion. Probably I want to limit that maybe to 20 minutes, let's say. Hopefully we don't need that long. We did spend a great deal of time on Monday. I think we're all very familiar with the projects and what the concerns and the issues are in terms of funding. And then hopefully we can have a motion and a vote on a recommendation to go forward. So with that, Chet, could I ask that you pull up the options?
How's that?
Can't see it yet. There we go. How is that for everybody? Okay, I assume that's good. So we'll just go in order. We've labeled these options, option A, B, C, and D. There's an option E there. Once we get to the point of maybe making revisions, then Chet will demonstrate what that looks like under an option E if none of the 4 options are preferred. So with that, Chesterfield, if you'd like to make some comments about option A.
We've had conversations since submitting option A, and it seems like option D is getting everybody what they're after. And so we're in support of option D.
Okay, got it. Anything else? Okay, I'll go ahead and speak to option B. That's the Hanover option. It is also very similar to option D, but not exactly similar. In option B, I'll first speak to the 33 widening project. I just want to note that Hanover has reduced its request from 20 million, which was recommended this past Monday under the TAC recommended option. And we're reducing that to 4 million. That would be for PE only. We plan to come back next round to seek the balance required to fully fund the project. This approach improves our readiness. It better defines the right-of-way and construction cost, and will advance the schedule. We recognize that this would still require approval of the full authority, but we wanted to go on record of our intent to seek additional funding to complete this project in subsequent rounds. We also strongly support funding for Ashland's Route 1 Ash Cake Road project. That is included in our option. It's also included in option D. And then lastly, I just want to say that we are uncomfortable, I guess, with the removal of funding from any project that has gone through the scoring and was slated to receive funding. So it deviates from the objective scoring and ranking process that we have adopted, and it just kind of changes things. So we're not in favor of that. But yeah, so I think that completes my comments. So next we will have New Kent. Amy, would you like to speak to option C?
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I really appreciate your comments on sticking to the framework and sticking to our scoring process, and that's sort of what our recommendation was following. And I'm also very glad to hear Ms. Mertz Gwynn in my comments to Chet, it was that we would fund the projects as they were scored, which would include allowing Richmond to receive the $13.5 million since they were next in line for the funding for the transit category. So I think that they should receive the $13.5 million that they're requesting to leverage the build grant. And then I also believe that we should fund the Chaco Valley improvement, because that was next in line on the highway category to receive funding. And it was reduced from 17 million down to $14 million. So that's why we have those two projects. And then of course, the Fulton Yard, as everyone has mentioned, is a very critical project for VPRA to allow a very significant increase in rail service coming up out of Richmond to the Northeast, to DC in the Northeast corridor, maximizing a very small amount of rail right-of-way, right? So we're moving so many people on a very limited right-of-way. So I think $15 million to fully fund that project is certainly reasonable. And then I would suggest going ahead and absolutely, I would amend my recommendation to include the Route 1 Ash Cake Road for the $1.4 million. And then any remaining funding from that point. And again, I assumed a deallocation of money from the Forest Hill Ave and the Parham Road improvements, that those two projects would be deallocated. I did not assume that Ashland would deallocate their funding for the Vaughan Road overpass. So I think we should verify that that is the correct assumption for the deallocation of funding, because that's where we kind of went awry, right? On the previous discussions that we had on Monday. So those were my assumptions. I see that others did not assume that the Parham Road project would be deallocated. So that $2.9 million that I was assuming would be available for allocation, I think that's up for discussion, right? So we need to know first, what are we really talking about? What is the number we're really talking about for allocation? So I would suggest that, and Joe, I absolutely think you should get the $4 million to do the PE. That's been the question, right, about the project readiness. So I absolutely support you having the $4 million to ready that project and get it ready for the next round of scoring for regional CVTA money and, smart scale or whatever funding strategy you're going for. I will totally support that. I do have concerns about the POI. It scored, second to last. $30 million is a lot of money to put on a project that scored nearly last in this process. And I certainly don't think that it should be receiving funding above projects that did score higher and were next in line for funding. So I think that needs to absolutely be in consideration. I wasn't sure about the Beulah Road relocation. So I hadn't heard a whole lot about that. I see that Henrico put $9 million on that. I don't know enough about that project. So again, whatever money is remaining, I think that should be allocated to projects that are ready to move forward and to advance. So that's sort of the message behind our recommendation. I could support option D if we can get the downtown transfer hub back up to the $13.5 million. You know, potentially either taking the money away from the Chesterfield Powhite Parkway project or the Beulah Road relocation project. Again, I don't know enough about Beulah Road to know where that stands. But I do think that the downtown transfer hub absolutely needs to move forward. It absolutely needs the $13.5 million. And so I think other projects should be able to give that additional $3.5 million to that project so that Richmond can advance with a good build project application. So I thank you, everybody, for your time and coming back, and everybody being very conscientious about how we're allocating this money to help benefit the Richmond region. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for those comments. Henrico, you're up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So what we try to do is try to be as equitable and balanced as possible. The 10 million we're giving up on Bryant Park is given the project state at this point. It's unlikely to move anytime soon, but we will pursue funding in the future, and it is a project that will get delivered, in due time. But at this moment, it's something that we are willing to sacrifice, in support of the region. As you can see, we are funding most all of the projects that were requested from the beginning. Beulah Road is in support of the airport. That would be, a regional project that would greatly benefit the airport and surrounding region, including Richmond. And I'll just be brief. We did try to build as much consensus as we could yesterday, and that's probably the option that we'll want to support moving forward. That's all I have.
Okay, I appreciate all those perspectives. So at this point, there are a couple line items that we have consensus. We have absolute consensus on the Fulton Yard facility among the four options, all at 15 million. Pretty close regarding the downtown transit hub. There's some differences there, and it's not quite clear to me exactly what is needed. My understanding was the 12 million that Hanover assigned was based upon a presumption that that's what the minimum was needed, but it could be more. There's funding for, I say with Amy's offer to reduce the funding for 33, then for all intents and purposes, we have consensus around that particular item. And I can't recall, Barb, did you say that you were willing to adjust to assign money to Ashland? I don't want to. Okay, and Amy, was that also the case for New Kent?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we have consensus on that one if those adjustments, when those adjustments are made. So I guess at this point, formally why don't we just go through and let me see how the best to, yes, sir.
Mr. Wagner may want to share thoughts from the city as well. I know they didn't have a recommendation, but I think I saw him raise his hand briefly.
Okay, I missed that. Thanks. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chet. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to make sure you finished your framing statement first before I interjected, but wanted to address some of the comments because I think they're really well taken, right? Especially the comments around the potential precedent setting around removing a project that scored within the funding allocation. I think that's a really fair concern. The reason why we took a closer look at the Bryant Park Interchange project is because it is primarily located within the city of Richmond. and not a city priority, and actually at the moment would go against the direction that we're looking to move. The project scope widens part of the interchange heading away from the city. And as Mr. De Leon mentioned, it's a project that we believe could help address some of those regional congestion issues in the future, but is maybe not quite ready yet. And so I really want to thank Henrico for being willing to have a collaborative and candid conversation around this. It would not be my intention to make a habit of going after scored projects. I understand that concern, and I absolutely respect it. This is a unique circumstance for us, and really want to thank Henrico staff, because it's not critical at all that they submitted this project in the first place. But when we took a closer look, we were able to work together and say that it's maybe not the best fit for right now, and that will allow us to fund some really critical, more urgent priorities like the downtown transfer hub, like the Fulton Yard layover facility. So again, appreciate all of your comments and wanted to thank everyone for their collaboration to sort through that. We would certainly be supportive of option D. And I think we would be supportive of option C as well, but I understand there might be a little desire to maybe move some of that around to be more palatable for more folks. But anyways, I'll cede my space now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that perspective. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick poll just to see where we are? I think I know where we are, but let's just to make sure we're all on the same page here. So just show of hands or by voice. Option A, who favors option A? Option B? I'd say yes, but we can definitely go with option D. So option C?
I'll say yes, but I recognizing that there needs to be some changes in that, but.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, Joe, and I would be in favor of option C as well, and with just the reiteration that we stick to the framework and the process that Amy mentioned. I think that's really important, and we need to look at the highest scoring projects as well.
Yeah,
those that are ready.
I'll put my hand up for option C, C as well.
Okay, so we got 1 for B, we got 3 for C, and then the balance, let's just do this because I'm not good at math. How many for option D? 1, 2, 3, 4.
If you'll put on I can raise my hand for option D if we get the 13.5 million for the downtown transfer hub. I don't think that's asking too much, and it was next in line for the $28 million remaining for the transit category. And I don't think that we should take money off of a category and put it into highway when we have a very good project that needs to move forward, and it should be fully funded at that request.
So, and we're voting at this point, we're voting on option D as is, right?
We're just trying to see where everybody is. And so, I mean, a small majority are favoring option D or some variation of D. So at this point, why don't we just kind of focus on option D? I'm just going to open it up. Like I said, we'll try to limit this to maybe 20 minutes max and see if we can't hammer out something that is palatable to the majority of the collective here. So Amy just spoke. We have 3 hands raised. We'll just go in order because I didn't see who raised their hand first. So Elizabeth, you first, then Gilberto, and then Barb.
Mine was just a vote. I hadn't lowered my hand since the vote.
Oh, okay. Gilberto, do you have anything?
There we go. I finally unmuted. Yeah, I needed to put my hand down.
Okay. Barb?
I was under the understanding that the city reduced the request to the transit hub to 10. Can the city confirm that that's the amount that they were seeking?
Yeah, Daniel?
Yes, that is correct. So after chatting with the GRTC folks, while I believe that the 13.5 would be the best case scenario to make sure that we're best poised, we do believe that that we could make this work, especially looking at some of the projected future allocations. We think that 10 is definitely the bare minimum to be able to make it work. But GRTC staff have been definitely grateful and willing to work with that number.
Okay, then I can support that.
Yeah, and Hanover supports it. Was there somebody else that was on the fence? Okay, Barb, and then Lignan.
I'll defer any comment at the moment.
Okay. Lignan?
Liggett. Liggett.
Ligon, I'm sorry. Other comments before we go back to Barb? Barb?
I'll make a motion to approve option D.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Inman. Do we want to have, is there any further discussion on option D? Okay, well, let's take a roll call vote.
Sorry, which option is this motion for?
Option D.
Option D. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Town of Ashland, Miss Mertz Gwynn.
Aye.
Charles City County, Miss Adams.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Miss Smith.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Miss Smidler.
Aye.
New Kent County, Miss Inman.
Aye.
Powhatan County, Mr. Webb.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, well, congratulations, everybody.
Great job.
I'm sorry, Joe. Yeah. So Joe, yes, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I just wanted to speak on behalf of me and Dr. Dakwar, who's sitting here. We're just very grateful for you all in this effort, partnering with Mr. Wagner. We're just almost at the finish line. We're going to submit this build grant, but we thank you guys for the regional partnership in ensuring that we can get this DTS done. And I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for leadership in Cheryl and Adrian as well. Thank you all.
Great. Okay. Does anybody, any other committee members care to address the committee? Okay. So thank you for your time today, meeting on such short notice. Very pleased that we're able to come to a unanimous decision. I think that's really great. And with that, if nobody has anything else, our next meeting is March 9th. And we stand adjourned.
Yeah, thank you.